Jane's Addiction are without a doubt one of the most influential alternative rock bands, with some claiming they should be given more credit than they were. Rather than embracing spandex and poofy hair that was so prevalent in their hometown of Los Angeles during the 80s, the band would combine elements of classic rock, funk, punk, metal, and goth. Jane's Addiction were the antithesis to everything that was popular at the time. The band's first two major label releases, 1988's Nothing Shocking and 1990's Ritual de lo Habitual, would create controversies because the album covers contain nudity. Both covers, the brainchild of flamboyant frontman Perry Farrell, would see the group land one music retailer in so much hot water that they were fined for displaying a poster of the group's record, and the owner was threatened with jail time. That's what we're going to explore in today's video. The cover of Jane's Addiction's 1990 record Ritual de lo Habitual would be an extension of the magnum opus on the album, 3 Days. The song tells the story of a hedonistic weekend frontman Perry Farrell, his girlfriend and muse Casey Nicole, and a girl Ziola Blue had together. Despite the internal tension between the band members, who were rarely in the studio at the same time during the making of the record, 3 Days was the only song that was recorded with all the band members in the studio at the same time. When Ritual's cover was presented to the group's record label Warner Brothers, it was Perry's privates that didn't sit well with the executives, not the women's. Ahead of the record's release, Warner Brothers would send out promotional posters of the album to retailers. While many may think of Florida in the early 90s when it came to obscenity laws, retailers in Michigan dealt with the same thing. One record store in Royal Oak called Off the Record would be ticketed for a misdemeanor charge, accusing the store of, and I quote, displaying an obscene poster in the south window along Main Street. Jane's Addiction's poster displays women's privates. Funny enough, there was no mention of Perry's privates being shown on the poster. If the record store owner was found guilty, he could be sentenced to up to 90 days in prison, along with a $100 fine. If there was any irony to this story, it's that the town itself was going to erect a statue of two naked people outside their city hall. Warner Brothers offered to cover the court costs for the record store owner, and the American Civil Liberties Union soon joined the fight. Soon enough, other record stores were dealing with similar charges, resulting in nervous retailers who were having second thoughts about carrying the new Jane's Addiction album. Farrell would tell the alternative press at the time, "They told me that if I designed another cover, they'd release the first cover. So I did, and they released both." The alternative cover was all white, featuring an inscription of the First Amendment and a brief love letter to the champions of censorship. The only reason I put the First Amendment on there is because I'd be lost without it. I need that protection because when it comes to art, I'll only extend. I won't compromise, period. That's the backbone of the band, never compromise. Otherwise you're dead. You're a victim and they will dictate your career from that point on. Warner Brothers claimed that within the first few weeks of the album coming out, the record with the original artwork was being bought 3 times more often than the censored one. Maybe MTV and the morality police didn't know it at the time, but Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses could be seen wearing the album's original artwork in their video for Don't Cry. Rose himself was a big fan of Jane's Addiction and even offered guitarist Dave Navarro the chance to replace Izzy Stradlin after his departure in November of '91. But due to Navarro's severe heroin addiction at the time, he never showed up to rehearsals. Navarro, however, would hook up with Guns N' Roses almost a decade later in 1999, playing on the track Oh My God for the End of Days soundtrack. As for the controversy around the album cover, Perry would tell the LA Times in 1990, "I like giving people a rise. I'm not trying to outrage you. I'm not the stupid kid with a nihilistic outlook on life, like I just destroy. I like colors, I'm drawn to love." As for the record store owner, that ticket would end up being torn up. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, and if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you again in Rock and Roll Your Stories.